Good evening. I want to apologize to you first for the delay in starting this evening. We've had some minor cable glitches. Hopefully they've all been straightened out. Thank you for coming, and for those at home for tuning in. Tonight the school committee and the school building committee will outline for you the proposed renovations and the addition to the J. Turner Hood School. For the last 3 years, we have been sounding the alarm about overcrowding in our elementary schools. Even with the new addition to the Little School, we are currently maxed out on space in all 3 buildings. Redistricting is not the answer. Grade reorganization is not the answer. New construction is the only way to achieve the needed instructional space for our students. The school committee continues to support a kindergarten through grade 5 alignment with a plan to move to full-day kindergarten. The Hood and the Little schools will have 3 classrooms at each grade level, and the Batchelder will have 4. The elementary schools also need to house pre-kindergarten, SEAM, and special needs programs. And mandated by education reform are required instructional spaces for art, music, technology, and media, or library. Next year at the Hood School, we will be short 2 classrooms. This could mean that music would return to the stage or art would be on a cart. We have serious roof problems. We have cracked asbestos floor tiles, a boiler that is running on borrowed time, and an HVAC system and windows that are anything but energy efficient. The administrative office and the resource area are lacking adequate workspace, and there is no room for our teachers to plan or to meet with parents. In order to keep up with our growing population, we look for your support and approval on this, the 3rd phase of the elementary building project. I'd like to take just a moment and introduce the members of the building committee that are here this evening. Mrs. Maureen Vaca is the chair of the committee. Mr. Richard Lasden is the vice chair, and we have members Victor Hernandez and Fred Clark. We also have with us the principal of the Hood School, Mr. Paul Perry. And representing the architectural firm of Todd Lee Clark and Rosas, we have Mr. Santiago Rosas and Jan Crotty. Our presentation this evening will be in 3 parts. First, Superintendent Dr. David Troughton will address the program needs and the growing enrollment at the Hood School. Next, Mrs. Vaca will outline the design and renovations of the Hood School project. Following the presentation, members of the school building committee will address specific questions concerning the project. Dr. Troughton?
Good evening. Thank you for your patience as we get wired here for our AV. We're only broadcasting, not broadcasting tonight, but we will have a tape available for future broadcasting. My part of this presentation is to come back again to the enrollments and to elaborate on what Mrs. Sardeller said about the growing need to find educational space here in North Reading in all of our elementary schools. And I'm going to focus specifically on the needs of the Hood School. As Mrs. Sardeller indicated, each of our elementary schools is redistricted to house 3 classrooms for grades 1 to 5 at the Hood School and at the Little School, and that the Batchelder School, or what we also refer to as the New School, will be designed to house 4 classrooms per grade. So this chart shows the classroom distribution currently in 98-99 and what it will look like as we advance 1 year forward to next year. And so you can see that our educational program in the elementary schools is broken down by the regular classrooms in grades 1 to 5 that generally house anywhere from 20 to 25 or 26 students per grade, depending upon the grade and depending upon the school. We currently have kindergarten programs that are half-day programs, but to be in line with education reform and also also the movement not only in Massachusetts but across this country, and that is to expand the early childhood programs. Our building projects and our program projects are designed to increase from half-day programs to extended day programs. Right now, one classroom serves 2 different sections of kindergarten. If we were to go beyond the 2.5 hours of time, then we will need to find additional space. So everything that we speak about in terms of space is talking about extended kindergarten rooms. Preschool is mandated under the law for special education. We have what we refer to as an integrated preschool, where by definition, half of the children are enrolled in programs throughout the week who are receiving special education services, generally in the area of language development. We need to integrate those classrooms with an equal number, a balanced number of typically developing children. And the class size is set. We cannot exceed 7 or 8 children in special education, so that the maximum size in that preschool classroom is 15. We currently have 2 preschool programs. Actually, this year, both of them are housed at the little school. And next year, we will need to find room for one of those preschool classrooms in another elementary school, because if we don't, the new addition at the little school will sacrifice a room in order to, we're just out of space. As Mrs. Sardelli said, we also run programs that require specialized teaching space for art, for music, our technology, computer, and science labs in each of the elementary schools. So each elementary school has one music, one art, one computer room. We also have, we provide special education. We divide that in 2 forms. One that we refer to as a resource room. In a resource room, children are receiving individualized support, and there's a lot of rotation of children coming in and out of the resource room, generally one-on-one or in small group settings. North Reading also participates in the STEAM Collaborative, which is a collaboration of 8 communities that work together to provide high-level special education services. So in North Reading, we house a collaborative program at our elementary level that is a high-intensity language-based program. So we need to make sure that we continue to provide room for that. So when you look at the numbers, even this year, we are behind in terms of the number of spaces for appropriate spaces for children. Next year, we will be actually expanding. Our second grades will increase by 2 classrooms, actually 3 classrooms, one at the Hood School, one at the little school, and one at the Bachelor. Which is, as Mrs. Sardelli said, that we're aiming to have 10 classrooms per grade in grades 1 to 5, 3 at the Hood, 3 at the Little, and 4 at the new school, or the Bachelor School, for a total of 10. In reality, the way things are going, we have 12 sections of kindergarten this year, and we have 12 sections of first grade this year. We anticipate the same number of kindergarten children next year, and those first grade children will become second grade. So we're going to continue to expand, and as a result, we will be short, even with our current capacity and even with the addition of the little school, by 3 classrooms. What that means then is that we begin to impact programs. We make choices about which programs we're not going to support in a separate teaching area. So programs like computers, music, and art begin to have some serious consequences in terms of appropriate teaching space. In looking down the road, if we are to follow the trend in enrollment, and if we are to also look at the extended kindergarten needs, then the North Reading Public Schools at the elementary level will be short some 16 rooms. And that, again, enters into the discussion of not only about the Hood School, but about the need for a new school as well. looking specifically at the Hood School in the middle, shows currently how we distribute those classrooms and what we project for next year. So the design that you're going to hear about tonight is really focused specifically on the Hood School. This design is not intended to pick up the slack from, say, the little school or to replace the need for a new school. The need is definitely there. We're trying to accommodate it school by school, little school, now the Hood School, and ultimately the new school. So you're going to hear how the design will provide 4 additional teaching spaces, more than what we currently have at the Hood School. We're very concerned about over-maximizing or increasing beyond the maximum in terms of the total capacity of the Hood School to support quality programs. So I think at this point, the enrollment figures that I've been standing firm on for the last 5 years, actually, this is the 5th year, in terms of talking about enrollment projections. They're definitely here. I do not see an end. In fact, our 10-year projections, which we are required to provide every year, continue to show that the number of live births, or the number of births in North Reading last year will support kindergarten classrooms that will be as large as they are now, if not larger. And these projections do not take into fact any of the turnover in the existing housing market or any additional needs left. So I'm going to turn this over to Mrs. Bacher, who is going to talk about the design. Do you want to talk here, or do you want to? I can show those. Because that's where the.
Is it on? It's not even on. Okay, before we take a look at the design, this is what we will have with the completed project. We'll have 16 classrooms, and that provides 3 of each grade level from grades 1 through 5, and 1 extra room we call the wiggle room. For when we have that year, we need that 4th extra class at a particular grade level. We'll have 3 extended day kindergarten classes, so there needs to be 3 rooms for that program. A preschool program, which North Reading supports because we have a collaborative program where we have some special needs kids matched up with some typical learning children, and it's quite beneficial both for the children, the families, and financially supported program. We have a collaborative, a need to provide a space for the collaborative, the SEAM collaborative program, a resource room, a computer room, music, art, and library, the reading, Title I, and speech areas, guidance, a nurse's office, a renovated administrative wing, conference room, a gymnasium, the cafeteria in the kitchen, teacher planning and a teacher dining, and quite a bit of additional storage space is needed. Okay, we'll take just as long as we get. All right. This is the front of the building currently, and the only change that will happen out front is we're bumping out the administrative wing. So where the current face of the building is flat, this will protrude out slightly, and it will allow for expanded room in the principal's office, the conference room, and the office. And if anybody has been in the Hood School, you'll know that the office needs it more than anybody. That is one of the more cramped spaces. There will be an awning added across the front to the children that are dropped off so that they're covered when they walk in. So we've got the 2 awnings. The lobby actually gets cut back. Currently, the walls come right up to right angles, and the hallway is stopped going down the corridor. The front gets cut back a bit, and it adds to the lobby. And then some revamping gets done in this area over here. There's a health area and a teacher's conference area, a place for teachers to make phone calls to parents without having to stand in the office where anybody can hear what's being discussed. So that is answering a need that the teachers have.